Well, this week was certainly better, but then I'm still not liking Toqger. Okay. End of last episode, they were on this tangent of the team being as good as dead, and we didn't really get closure on that because Sexy Robot walks in, and the red of the group, Raito, completely draws most of their attention away from it. Except for Hikari, Toku Yongo. He's the guy who's normally in green, but since all the color changes will be swapping, he's not going to be the normal green. He is the normal user of the green. Yeah, he doesn't just ignore it, but since he can't get the straight answer because of Raito, the Ichigo's idiocy, we don't get a straight answer. What they posit from this is the Shadow Line, the bad guys of, well, is their name the Shadow Line? The guys creating the Shadow Line are taking over cities, and when the Shadow Line takes over a city, it twists it into something different. It twists them to the whims of them, and the way they do it is through affecting negative emotions to bring it out. And this already makes me wary, as they did that last year. D-Boss's thing was they were going to use the darkness of the malevolence of human emotions to revive D-Boss. Primarily anger, despair, and joy. I don't exactly know joy. And along the way, they also got Endolf, which was hate, and then they replaced happiness and sorrow as well. But you get where I'm going with this. They're doing it over again when they just did it. And normally the villains do not have overlapping themes. Each of them does something different, even if their endgames are similar. For example, Shinkenger, the Gedoshu wanted to destroy the world, except their method was more taking it over with drowning it in these seas of sorrow, so their own sea, I'm blanking on the exact terms, of the underworld could emerge from below it, and that would destroy the world and make it their own. And then next series, Go Sager. Bajira, Blade Run, wanted to destroy the world, or to make it anew in his image, because he was literally Lucifer. And he was going to do it by eliminating its protectors. First through the War Star, which actually kind of succeeded. It's just that he missed a few trainee angels, and then he had to do all these schemes to eliminate them, which brought up the second faction of that, which were actually enemies Bajira himself had defeated in the past. And then when he was injured by an unexpected strength, he got taken in and then was allowed to recover under this other organization. Yeah, it's an overarching theme for Ghost Sager. Point is, since they're taking over these towns, the supposition by Hikari in this episode was that the reason that their minds are screwed with, because they can't really remember a lot of details, they're all amnesiacs, and again, I'm hating this. Why does Japan like the amnesiac thing so much? I mean, they use it a lot, and this may be just because I intake so much of the media, but it pops up like every other series I watch or end up watching. Someone somewhere is missing some frame of reference in their memories, and either it's a brainwashed villain where their memories are being suppressed, or it's a critically important detail that there's been a mental block, or there's been this trauma. Not all of it is bad, but it's execution and how often it comes across. Whether, granted, some of it comes off as retcon, but eh. And I'm just racking up my complaints to this, because remember, this is the second Car Ranger FX series in a row, and the last time this happened was with the Metal Heroes. B-Fiber Kabuto was considered a really bad season, and then they made two stupid series that ended up causing the franchise to go off the air. And although amusingly, in my case against Osamu Kaneda, that was him. That was the production head for B-Fighter Kabuto, and he was the production head for Go Busters. And here we are doing that again. I like that they're fleshing out the villains a bit more. As they have, I think the villains are going to be the best things about this show, because they have motivations. They're working towards those motivations, and each of the places they create this station for this shadow line to travel on, and the towns that come under the wards that come under their dominion become manipulatable to their whims. Like, this week's Monster of the Week was all about dueling, and I don't mean card games on motorcycles. I mean the traditional dueling, as in one-on-one fights. And so he was eliminating the population, making them feel despair and hopelessness for these fights, and his thing was cowardice. And so fear was the thing he was trying to draw out of people, and so even the survivors, because this game, would feel that, because they feel the despair from having to take another person's life to even continue a semblance of their own. And I liked that as a kind of setup for a villain. And problem is that execution, yeah, not very well done. Because he doesn't like cowardice or people refusing to fight, and it's wouldn't it be a more show of bravery to not give in to the whims of someone that's forcing you into these gladiatorial fights, to strike out at them instead of finding someone weaker than yourself? Because that's not courageous to go after someone weaker than you just so you can keep on living. That's not really I think it's more, yeah, his thing was cowardly because you do not fight when you're scaring all these people to do what you want, which is fight. And so it's not really sure. He's contradicting himself is what I'm getting at, and that's kind of defeating your own purpose. There's this sequence in the episode of Raita, Toku, Ichigo fighting on top of a train. Now, it doesn't start out badly, but then they get into fighting in the air, and there's this horrendously bad green screen effect that's just inexcusable in its execution. That it's showing off flying trains. We've done the flying trains bit already. Den-O, Go-Go 5, aka Lightspeed Rescue. We've done this before. And it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't start off too bad, because they're on the train lines of the actual, either a model scale set or a CGI thing. Maybe they actually filmed the rail lines for these setups for the backdrops so they could green screen it in. But like I said, they CGI the trains, and then they have to green screen it. So they're fighting on the trains, and they're both flying, and they're flying in loops like a pair of gears, and you can tell he's not running at the speed the train is moving around him, and it just looks horrible. And it's... Why didn't you just jump on the train to fight the guy? Why not? Why didn't you do that? And it's like, you have to crash them into each other to even get to it. And the bad guy actually does this. He jumps off his train to fight Toku Ichigo on top of his red steam engine, which is actually connected to a green express train, which is driven by Yongo Hikari, who I mentioned earlier. And it's... Yeah, this it's not going to be the death of me, but it's frustrating me because I'm noticing all of these stupid moments that would have not been too bad had they just thought them out. And not made the main character kind of an idiot, because the red is by default the main character. And if you don't like the main character, you got problems. So back to the whole as good as dead thing. The first theory was that one of their homes was taken over by the Shadow Line, and that's why they can't remember things. And the conductor is trying to placate them by saying, yes, that's the reason. And the hand puppet, which of the main cast so far is the only good character. Granted, I'm warming up to Yongo, but not he's not calling them out on their own idiocy. So, in fact, he's grounding them so they can fly off in this balloon of imagination that's ignoring the rest of reality, because they're flying away. They're flying away from reality, and I think and it's not imagination at this point. He's deluding himself, and we already have a team that does delusion, the Keeper Ranger, and I'm keep hearing rumors that a Keeper Ranger is coming back for a third season. I would like to see a third season, because a Keeper Ranger is less deluded than these idiots, and that's pretty. A Keeper Ranger is less deluded than these idiots, and Keeper Ranger's power runs on delusion, runs on denying reality. Imagination is not denying reality. It's thinking up all these things that could improve reality. It's like alternate routes. It's like figuring out a problem by thinking outside of the box. The box is reality. Imagination is how you can use reality to get past this obstacle. And I think that's why Gogo irritates me, because then she's the I think I can girl, because it's like imagining all this and then she does it, and it's usually something that she does not have the physical or mental capabilities to do, and is fear. Okay, I can think mindsets getting a change, but it's like it's not switching into a different personality, because she's fearful or she's physically incapable of doing it, and then she does the I think I can, and imagines all this stuff, and then she does it. And if she can do it with the imagination taking it over, she should be able to do it without it. It's not really imagining yourself stronger, it's a mental block. And what irritates me is the sequence she goes through it, because obviously she's capable of doing this on her own without it. Yeah, this is going to be a running thing with the vlogs of me just doing this stream of consciousness where I can't even finish my sentences. This is kind of how I talk in reality, too. Still don't have much on blue. Still don't have much on yellow. Or 2 and 3. Like I said, we got a bit more of the villains this week. How they're setting up their plans to get their emperor. Something irritating with the subtitles this week. Overtime, who I'm using for the subs for Toqger, did not do a very good job this week. They were translating a lot of things wrong, and I think it was trying to go with the theme of the trains, but like they translated gatai as coupling when it's combined, and I know that's nitpicking, but this is my thing with the Izir subs. There are specific translations and way of translating things, and ignoring these things for a gimmick or or to just rewrite it yourselves is being less than faithful to what you're trying to do. Toku apparently has the ability to unlink all the cars at any given time, and then rehook, so it can dodge a blow that, or a gun blast that are aimed at it by separating into the pieces, and that would not have been bad, except they kind of screwed up the effect again. I've got a cold. Sorry. It's like they're hovering in the middle. They're like hovering in the midair. I wouldn't have minded that because they showed the trains floating in midair. But then they have them all bobbing around before they reconnect, and it's only a couple seconds, but it made my eye twitch. And I also don't like that they're just playing by the bad guys' rules. It's something else if you're coming into their territory and they're twisting it so you have to do it. But the fields they've taken over, they're enforcing the effect by brute force. They're not it's not a magic spell that makes you compelled to do it. They're intentionally going into the enemy's camp and playing their own game to beat them. And that is going to backfire at some point. Back to the they're dead theories. Yeah, at the end of the episode, Conductor was saying that's it. Ticket Guy was saying that's not it. So one of them is I'm betting the Ticket Guy, Ticket is the puppet, is telling that Conductor is placating them. Ticket is trying to get them to look into themselves. So I've got a couple theories. One, they are actually dead and their ghosts have refused to move on due to delusion, as I said. Two, they're in comas, which, considering their last memory was playing together, that could honestly fit. It could be the Shadowline thing, except in a different format. Four, the good is dead thing is the death of imagination, as I got into my last vlog. It's they're refusing to grow up because of that imaginative spark. But like I said, adults have imagination. It's not as much as kids, but it's directed differently. Their creativity. Artists, they're imaginative. They're creative people. And if that ends up being it, I am so going to facepalm at that, because you don't stop imagining things just because you're an adult. And that was really wasted time, because that's the big question of the episode, is, are they dead? And it doesn't get answered. And they had this perfect setup for it that they just walked out of. And that was in the first minutes, and I'd honestly walk out right now, and if, that was a movie or something, or serialized or TV, I would change the channel, but no, this is kind of my thing now. This is Tokusatsu, this is Sentai. I love Sentai, I love Tokusatsu, and I just hate stupid characters. On to Gaim. Gaim, this was a transitionary episode, so it's kind of hard to say that it's good, because it kind of wasn't. It's pretty much just finishing up the plot points so they can move on to the next arc, because apparently the Yggdrasil arc is only episodes 12 through 19. Yeah, I think we could have, I wouldn't say stretched it, but had one more important events that would just culminate this, like continuing to target the teams, even though they'd publicly given up this Invest game to try and pin it on them still, but no, they seem to have abandoned that with the end of the Beat Writer stuff, which I think is kind of good, because they're not beating it with a dead horse, but this episode felt kind of empty, is what I was saying. It starts off in the last bit with Duke, Ryoma Sengoku. Izir Subs is still not translating Sengoku, even though they're using the terminology wrong. It's irritating to me. Duke texts Gaim to test the abilities of Jinba Arms, which is the orange Lock Seed plus the Lemon Energy Lock Seed combined into the Sengoku driver. Not Warring driver, Sengoku driver. To test the Jinba Arms capabilities, because it's 2 Lock Seeds as 1, whereas all the other belts are 1 Lock Seed. And the Energy Riders, the bow and arrow guys, are all 1 energy, and Energy Riders Lock Seeds are S-Class, and this is an S plus an A that Kota's using, Gaim's using. And he gets his ass handed to him, because they're still more powerful. Which is not how that kind of thing is supposed to work. Maybe it's just the different drivers making it less efficient, and it's the older model. And that I could actually see working, but we saw him kind of trash them. And, okay, that's kind of wrong, because the Energy Rider he fought was Marika, and Marika was apparently holding back a lot. And I really like Yoko Minato as a character, and Yoko Minato is Kamen Rider Marika. I'm actually looking up the character right now, because I wanted to name this, Yoko Minato, not Yoko Marika. This actress, Minami Tsukui, that's the actress for Yoko. She's also the suit actor for Kamen Rider form. She's the first actress to also be the suit actor for the writer since Hiroshi Fujioka 42 years ago. And Hiroshi stopped doing that after he got in a motorcycle accident that made the show kind of have to ditch him for about 30, close to 40 episodes. I went over that in the original Kamen Rider review. And yeah, so she gets a lot of credit, and she kind of steals the show, and she's in like 2-3 scenes, and they're kind of the most memorable ones. I don't even know what to call it. Anyways, aftermath of the Beat Writer group dance battle thing was that Beat Writers have been not exactly forgiven, but their popularity is back on the rise, and they're no longer being blamed for the Invest stuff. And several of the dance teams have disbanded because they were in it for the Invest games and for the pride, and not really for the dancing, and that was kind of the point. But Team Gaim, because Kamen Rider Gaim was named after his team, not actually as an individual, and Team Baron still seem to be in it, but they'll be defended by Kamen Rider Knuckle, who premiered last episode. And that was pretty much the first few episodes, or first few minutes of the episode. And then it got into the Assault Yggdrasil plot, which I didn't get over this, but Michizane, Kamen Rider Ryugen, is a spy for his elder brother, Takatora Bata, who is the leader of Yggdrasil, who is doing all these evil things. And so he's been playing spy the last several episodes to not split loyalties. And this is where it kind of got bad, because he sent them into a trap. Michi sent them into a trap. It could have been worse, though, because they got a new lock feel out of it, this tulip thing. So this episode was kind of advertising the toys. Yeah, I don't mind this normally, but it was kind of made a bit too sledgehammered that this walker thing, which is based off of a tulip, is more powerful than the last ones, even though it's a walker. It locked the vehicle. So, I was on the tulips thing, and they're power walkers. They're not really vehicles, and okay, Gaim uses one to kick somebody really hard, but it's after he's got the rest of them tied up. And they're mainly used by the Kurokage troopers, which are the mass production versions of the riders this year. And yeah, it kind of doesn't show them as being very powerful if they're getting beaten up by ostriches. They're pretty much Lockseed ostriches. And then you see Gaim total the mass production types that were kicking their asses just by using one, and it's inconsistent power leveling, and it was just stupid to advertise a toy people are probably going to pick up already because the Lockseed gimmick is apparently very successful. Hell, yeah, I went and picked up one myself, and I got the Tajidol O's one because it's cheaper to get than the normal O's one. And, it was not executed well, the advertising bit. So, but something I did like out of them, that's kind of dangerous when you think about it, is the, Tulip Lock Vehicle can shoot a laser that opens one of the cracks. The cracks are the interdimensional tears this season, and they use it to blast Gaim and Baron, because he's the one behind the idea to assault Yggdrasil, and they eject them from the Helheim Forest back to reality. And then they get the Tulip Lock Vehicle from DJ Sagara. DJ Sagara is the guy who's been, he's the guy who popularized the Invest game, and was the advertiser for all the Beat Rider events off of a website. And he kinda, sort of, last episode he helped them show that, Oren was not a nice guy, by showing him actually being the instigator of the, Invest fight. So yeah, he gives them the lock vehicle. Gaim takes care of the Kurogage troopers. Sid, aka Commander Sigurd, shows up, and since he's a energy rider and Baron was unoccupied, Baron was given the watermelon lock seed, which, as we've discussed before, creates power armor, and then proceeds to get his ass handed to him. Yeah. Granted, I think the Watermelon Lock Seed is about on par with Jinba arms, but Watermelon has a usage limitation. It can only be used for so long, and after that, it needs time to recharge. The Energy Lock Seeds don't have, and normal Lock Seeds don't have that limitation. So yeah, he beats on Sigurd for a little bit, but can't actually take him down, and he ends up getting captured by the end of the episode. Meanwhile, with the invasion, Gaim, Kota, ends up encountering Zangetsu. Zangetsu is Takatorobata, and they fight, and it ends with both of them being forced to detransform. It's shot ambiguously, because Gaim's knocked out of Jinba arms into his normal orange arms form, and he executes a finisher on Zangetsu, and it explodes, and Kota's knocked over, but Takatorobata is still standing at the middle of the finishing move. So it's shot oddly. It's like Gaim lost, but Takatora took all the damage. And it ends with Takatora agreeing to show what he's hiding in the forest, what all his motivations are for, because the entire fight, Kota's been spousing about how Yggdrasil is just using everyone, and he's not wrong. He just doesn't have the entire picture, and I've said it before. This is what they should have done when they became a conflicting characters. Offer to tell them what's going on if they'll stop fighting them. And it's a bit late, but I'm liking that they decided to do that. The problem is that it just comes out of nowhere. I get it with Michi, because it's the siblings thing. They're siblings, he didn't lie to them, and he can trust Michizane. He thinks he can, at least, and with the spy thing, he might want to reconsider that, considering he's been playing both sides. And yeah, the setup was not that good for this one. I still think it's better. It's fucking better than Toqger's been, but it's kind of a weak episode for this part of the arc. It's knock it down, but not successful in setting up what's next. Granted, like I said, there have been worse, but yeah, it was more selling toys this episode and filling time than continuing the full arc. I'm looking forward to seeing what they finally show next time, but in the advertisements, it was like showing that, or the preview trailers and the preview information, it was like, Kota was finally going to find out that the first monster he killed was Yuya, and that never happened in this episode, and I was kind of disappointed at that. Because they had the perfect setup, because he was talking about, Hase, why? During the entire, fight scene, so, there could have been that, why are you protesting so much when you have already committed this sin? And then that would destabilize him enough to agree to show him what they've been working for, what Yggdrasil has been fighting for, and why they needed to do all of these evil things. And I think that would have worked a bit better in the setup, because then it's going to crash down all at once as you begin this next arc, which, as I said, should be the Outbreak arc in my analogy of the .hack games being similar to the Gaim arcs. So, okay week for the tokusatsu genre. Haven't been getting a lot of replies to these, even though they've gotten decent viewership, so I'm gonna keep doing them. If you got any questions, hit me up at shintasbrainplan.blogspot.com or on my Twitter, Shinta, and I will see you all next week.